Okay, thank you very much. So as I started, my name is Anthony Agblevor. I was born in a village called Afrensudedewa near New Mangwasi. You can hear the name. If only you can find these names on the Ghana map, then I'll give you some something else. Mangwasi is our capital town, and that one alone is difficult to find on the Ghana map, and let alone the Afrensudedewa. So I was the 7th born of my mother out of 8, and 17th of my father out of 23. So it's a whole community on its own.
He's a strong man.
So you can imagine.
Yeah.
So that's a way of, yeah. So I started schooling in Afrensudedewa LA primary school, and I started school very early at the age of 4. The reason is, you know, those days you can only start school once you are around 10 years. So I have other big brothers and sisters who they were sending them to school. So my elder brother, Professor Agblevor, he thought it wise that as those 6 children are going to school, they will not leave me behind. So they wrote my name in addition. So I joined them at that age, 4 years, while they were around 9 and 10 years old. And we have to walk between 4 to 5 miles to go to school. And you can see the torture by then, 4 years competing with 9 and 10 years people to go to school. So that's how it started. So I had my kindergarten from Afrensudedewa LA to class 6. Then I continued at New Mangwasi Methodist Form 1 to Form 4. So at middle school Form 4, so I sat for common entrance, and then I passed and went to Koforidua Technical Institute to pursue block laying and concreting. So from there, I completed in 1989, had my national service at Mampone Kwapim with rural housing and cottage industry. From there, I went back to St. Paul's Technical Institute to pursue general course in construction. Then I went to Kumasi Polytechnic to read HND, to read Construction Technician Part 1. After that, I have to go back and do national service for another year. Then after that national service, then they introduced this higher national diploma course in the Polytechnic, now technical universities. So I applied to Accra Polytechnic, and then I was enrolled to pursue higher national diploma in building technology. So during the process of HND, there was this rumor that if you are able to make first class in HND, you can join 3rd year at KNUST. In 1997, I applied again. I wasn't picked. So I followed up to KNUST. And then I met, by then, the HOD, the head of department, Dr. Mantia. So Dr. Mantia, he was very nice with me. Then he told me that, look, my son, there is a government white paper which does not allow HND students to enroll in the degree program because the white paper says you are being trained as middle level manpower. So the best option there for me is to apply as a mature student. And those days, mature student, you have to be 30 years. And then you have to have 5 credits O-level. But you know, interestingly, in the technical school, we don't write O-level, we write City and Guilds of London. So the door was completely shut. So I came back confused, and but I decided that no, I have to do something. So I went to register as a private student for O-level. By then, so I registered for 6 subjects. That's 1999, and I wrote O-level, and by the grace of God, I passed all the 6 subjects, and then I applied Tech once more in 1999, and then by the grace of God, I was admitted. So I started from first year in 1999, and then graduated in 2003, first degree. And then I came back to start working again. And in 2010, I went back to school to pursue my master's degree in business administration and graduated in 2012.
What about your work history?
Okay, so if you can hear me, like I said, in 1989, I went to work with, that's a national service anyway, with rural housing and cottage industry at Ekwapim Mampong. So I stayed at Ekwapim Mampong for 1 year before going back to school. And then after that, I went to the teaching field. Also, I taught for 1 year, teaching technical skills and technical drawing for 1 year before going back to school again. So after completing HND, because I've done national service for 2 years, I didn't do national service again. I went to join Paraco Estate Limited as an assistant quantity surveyor. So I worked with Paraco Estates for, that's from 1996 up to 1998. Then I went to join Kotam Construction Limited for, that's almost 8 months. So I was with Kotam Construction Limited as a quantity surveyor before getting admission to Tech. So because of that, I have to resign because they were trying to sponsor me, and my mentor, one engineer at Tipo, he told me that no, I shouldn't take the offer of sponsorship. I should manage and go to school, and then yeah, so that was it. So I didn't take the offer. So I resigned and went to Tech. So when I came back from school, because I've resigned, there was no work for me. So I started my own business by venturing into selling of timber. So I have this friend, a very good friend that I met at Tech. He was my mate by name Fosuhini Apieje. We call him Frank. I don't know if he's connected. So he gave me a seed capital to start business. So when I completed Tech, I started with the timber business. I did that one for almost a year before having employment with VRA Resettlement, where I still work now. So I actually went to VRA Resettlement on contract basis. They wanted me for a 2-year contract, but after serving for 6 months, then by then my immediate director, one Captain Afo, I don't know what happened there. He said no, he wouldn't like me to go. He wants me to remain. And I said, well, the condition is that I'm here on a contract. So the moment I have a better offer elsewhere, I have to leave. So in his wisdom, he went to contact the board that he wants me permanent, and if they can, they will allow him to change my condition. And the board accepted the proposal, and then they changed my condition from contract to permanent, and that's where I am up to now.
Awesome, awesome, awesome. Before we go further, can you share with us, when it comes to leadership, what is your concept of leadership?
Yes, normally I see myself a bit of transformational leadership, transformational leader, and then a bit of autocratic too, on the grounds that certain issues you have to put your feet firmly on the ground. You don't need to be pushed around. But I've couched my own leadership as situational leadership. So depending on the situation where you find yourself, you have to provide type of leadership where you can make progress and so on. So I've couched my own leadership as a situational leadership. That's how I see
it. Chairman, so depending on the situation you are in, you offer a certain kind of leadership. Right?
Exactly. Yes.
Can you give us examples? Maybe 1 or 2 or 3 situations and the kind of leadership that you bring out.
Okay. So let me give you one interesting one. This started when I entered second cycle. So I came home one day and I realized that there was so much tension in the house. And as I told you, look at our numbers. We are about 23, plus other cousins and so on stay with my dad and mom. And so when you come to our house, which my friend Emmanuel, if he's on the line, he knows very well. He has visited my holy village those times that we were in school. So you come to our village and our house is like a township, about 50 people in the house. So I came from school and I could see that there's so much tension in the house. And it was a particular brother of mine who is the real source of the problem. So, and he is, like I told you, I'm the 17th born of my dad, and he is the 5th born of my dad. So you can see the difference. So, this guy will not smile to anybody. And his things that he do is so awkward that like people even surrounding everybody fears our home. So I came back from school and looking at the situation, I said no. So I called my dad and I told my dad that, Papa, can you call Bra Francis and then advise him to wear a face of smile a bit. It seems as he doesn't smile and so on, he's putting different image on our family and things are not going all well outside there. So my dad asked me, what is the problem? But I was going to fetch water with my sisters and I heard them saying that there was this woman that my brother was interested in, and he went to approach her, and then the woman said, hey, how can I marry such man who doesn't smile, who is no, I fear him. So one time the woman was going to fetch water, and when he spotted my brother far away coming, this woman has to wrangle and hide in the bush, threw her water away and everything. So my sisters were discussing it. I said, no, this cannot happen. So I told my father that this is the issue. So my father said, okay. So my father went to corner my brother somewhere, and then he advised him, and by then I have left back to school. But before we came back on holidays, and I saw that everything has changed in the house, and this is so my father came to me. He said, look, Anthony, what happened? How do you realize this? And so I said, what has happened, Papa? You too. He said, oh, now can't I see that the house is so lively? And then my brother said, yes, yes. So from that time, anytime that I come back from school, my room is closer to my dad's room. So by 3 a.m., my dad will come into my room. Whatever problem that is in the house, he'll come and discuss it with me. I'll advise him what we should do, and then he'll quickly sneak out of my room so that nobody will see that I'm the architect behind the whole thing. And he'll go and then implement suggestions that we put our heads together and it will work. So from there, I became more or less the linguist or something in the family. And that continued up to today that even though my dad is no more, by then, along the line, the family realized that this is a role that I play, and they gave me that chance. And all the time when there is any problem and there's sorrow, I'm the first point of call. And yeah, so that's one of them. And then at the workplace, for instance, you know, VRA Resettlement, we deal with about 52 communities. And yes, and you see, you go to some of the communities, and the moment they see you, they hear the name that you are from VRA, and so they want every problem of theirs to be solved by you. But look at these resettlements were established far back in the 1960 something, and our trust fund came into being in 1996. Things are deteriorated, things are far distant before we have come into being. But they see you as a leader or as coming to the place, they think that you can solve every problem of theirs. And then you see, in situations like that, you need a cool head. You need to rally the people behind you. You need to bring ideas when you buy into it, and you assure them that, yes, I cannot solve all your problems, but together we can move out of certain basic things and sort of. And so far, so good. As I told, I've worked there for 17 years. So you can see that if certain basic troubles or principles or certain things are not solved, there is no way I could stay there up to the past 17 years. And the last experience that I want to share again, making it 3, is, you know, far back in Ofanko, St. Benedict, we were struggling for a priest. And you could see that the people, the potentials are there. People are ready to come on board, but they needed a leader who will be able to rally them behind, encourage them, motivate them, and then give them direction. And together with you yourself, by then as my able secretary, you know, we will attend every meeting, trying to convince the people that we can do it. And then we will attend meetings at Kwashima. We'll come home around 10, 11 p.m. just to get the people on our side, to get a mission house, get certain basic things. And by the grace of God, you know, the success is what we are enjoying now in Ofanko, St. Benedict.
Yeah. Now we have our own priests. So Chairman,
Yes,
so far as your leadership journey is concerned, I want to ask, when did it start? When was the first time that, as far as you can remember, you will say, this is the first time I saw myself as a leader? Do you get me? When did it start? Was it in primary school or MBA level, or where? When did it start?
So as far as I can say that this actually started from primary school when I was in class 6. You know, what happened was that, as I told you, I went to school at age 4. So when I went, I was so tiny, so they took me to kindergarten. So my elder brothers and sisters, they started from class 1. So I was behind. So by the time I got to class 4, I was jumped to class 6. So when I went to class 6, it's like first term I was first in the class. So straight away teacher then said, look at this tiny boy, and then you big boys, and he is first. So from today, he's going to be your class prefect. And by then, if you are a class prefect, you see discipline in the classroom, and then everything you have to be on top. So that's how it started. So class 6, I became the class prefect, and look, when you speak, I'll write your name. When you litter the classroom, I'll write your name and you'll be punished. And because of that, most of my classmates didn't like me that much, but that was it. I did that. So I could say that, yes, maybe from that class 6, the leadership trait started, and that's how I continue from there.
Nice one, nice one. So what are those things that you will call the traits or the values that have guided your leadership? Now, you have journeyed in leadership up until now, as a father, as a husband, as a professional in the office. What are those traits or qualities or values that you will say that these are the pointers to your leadership?
Yes, one of the values that I can give or say is that, as a leader, you should be able to listen more to the people around you. As it's been said, 2 heads, not only 2 heads, 2 good heads are better than 1. So, yeah, I mean, heads can be together, 2, 3, 4, but if they are not good, I mean, it's as the same as 1. But if you have a good heads around you, you should listen to them. And then where you need to provide leadership, you provide. Where you need to motivate, you motivate. Where you need to direct, you direct. And you see that things will work out well. So I see leadership that, yes, it's a gift. If you are born with, yes, you have it. And people can also learn leadership also. But I say that, yeah, the trait, if you are born, you only need to listen to other good leaders, and you'll be able to move very well. And yeah, that's how I say, but you should be a listening leader. If you don't listen, you are bound to fail. But not that you listen and you just implement anything being said. No, you have to sit down, cool heads, think through, and then you implement, and definitely there will be a way out.
Now, I'm still on your leadership. Now, how are you able to inspire people? What is your approach? If you want to get people to do something, how do you go about it? How are you able to get people to do things for you? Or how are you able to get people to support you to achieve the results that you want to achieve? How do you do that?
Yes, yes, I have my own style of approaching some of these things.
Tell us.
It's it's like, yeah. So yes, it's like most of the times when there is a problem or there is a task that we need to perform. Yes, I don't normally look at all assembling all professionals in that area to come on board. The issue is that at times when you have too many professionals to come on board to solve a particular problem, they are all masters on their own. They are all masters on their own. So at times it's difficult for you to get the result. So you have 2, 3 good heads, and then you find other people who have some idea, or there are people in a group they are thinkers. You see, there are people, they are thinkers. There are people who are organizers. There are people who are the doers of the tasks. So you need to have a balance of these people. Then you share the vision or the idea with them that yes, this is what we have to do. And we have a timeline. We have a target that we have to accomplish within this particular point in time. So you share the task to everybody. And then you as a leader, you have to play that supervisory role, making sure that you are more or less, that's where I say you become a bit autocratic as part of my leader. Because if I give you a task, I have to be on your neck to make sure that you accomplish your side so that we put the pieces and pieces together and we are able to achieve a result. You know, this particular style of doing things, I learned it when we were back at Tech. We have this man who was in our study group called Mr. Boating. By then he was, I would say, the oldest person in our class, our classmate, but he joined my study group, and my study group was made up of now Dr. Akwe, Professor Owusu Menu, and all those people. And look, we stay in the night and we'll do our assignment up to around 1, 2 a.m. And when we finish and we said, okay, now we've solved every problem and so and we should go to bed. Mr. Boating will insist that we should look for where we can have our assignment or the work printed, bind it before we go to sleep. Because if we finish solving the problem and we don't bind it, we don't do anything, and we go to sleep, and the following morning we wake up and there is light off, what have we achieved? Everything that we've done is cost 90. So we'll look for where we internet cafe that night. We need to move out campus to a jar, to this in a doom to print it. We have to do that before. So I realized that yes, his approach was the best. So at any point in time, we don't lack in our presentation. And so I'm not surprised now seeing my study group mates being professors, being doctors now. And so I know that yes, with this thing that we all put on board today, it has helped everybody. So like that's how I learned something from that angle. So coming back to the corporate industry, I see that yes, anytime that I give people tasks, before a day for us to present and so on, I have to make sure that we get everything ready a day or two before the time is due. And me, myself, I get seriously involved. So most of my things, when everybody brings his own, I have to sit overnight, make sure that I put the pieces and pieces together before our presentation. And so also at a point in time, you have to be ahead of this. And I remember last year, about 2 years ago, we were attending a conference in Ho at a Volta Serene Hotel. So we had to make a presentation on our organization, what we do, and so on. And I don't know, either my director was trying to pull a fast one on me or what was it. We got there about 2 or 3 hours to our turn of making presentation. There he said, senior technical officer, you are going to make the presentation. I said, what, director? But why didn't you inform me ahead of time and so on? But then I've armed myself, I've practiced it over and over. So I said, okay. And I can tell you that day I went to make the presentation, and by then, by the time I step off the podium and so on, we have people who have promised to give us almost 2 million Ghana cedis into our organization, and that was one of the successes.
Please, can we get our share?
See me behind back door, so that we can talk about.
Thank you very much. I try to pick a few things as you shared. One key point there is the fact that leadership is about results, and you must get results. And then you said that is where your autocratic nature comes, because you will have to insist that the results come. And then you also mentioned that you don't sit and just watch, you get involved. And as leaders listening to our guest for tonight, this is one of the things that we also have to learn. Sometimes leaders will sit on the side, sit on the fence, and expect that the results will be achieved. Yes, you should seek results, but you should get involved in getting or achieving the results. That responsibility that you demonstrate as a leader, your followers will pick that attitude, and then they will also exhibit that.